Hi, I'm Ed Sperling. I'm the editor-in-chief of System Level Design. I'm here with Charlie Janac from Arteris, Frank Schirrmeister from Cadence, Venkat Iyer from Uniquify, and Adnan Hamid from Breker. Charlie, from your standpoint, when you look out at the verification world, are we getting to the point where uh, we're going to lack confidence in future designs? Is it getting too complicated?
Well, designs are certainly getting more complicated. Some of the chips are approaching, several 100 million gates. So things are certainly getting more complicated. But I think the verification gets essentially pushed down into the ecosystem. So the IP vendors have to verify their IPs at the unit level, at the module level. The semiconductor companies have to verify at the module level, and their models of those modules or those instances have to be brought up to the next higher level to be simulated in virtual platforms. So I think that the amount of verification follows the complexity. The schedules don't change. There's more resources that will be thrown at it, but I think the amount of verification that's going to be done will stay about the same, but the verification task gets more complex.
So are we as comfortable with the final product coming out the door, or is it, we going to just need lots more things that are done in the field with software?
Well, as someone said, is the more problems you have in the hardware, the more difficult the software quality gets. So I think that the hardware quality is very important to make sure that the software investment and the software schedules don't have to be compromised by there having been flaws in the hardware. So I think the hardware quality stays as important as it is in the past.
Frank, from your perspective, is it getting so complicated that we're really not going to be comfortable with the final product anymore? Are these things going to be more buggy than they were in the past?
Well, certainly the whole confidence question when you can tape out, are your confidence levels high enough to tape out, depend on the application domain for one. So there are application domains where it's absolutely critical to wait longer, so the time to the appropriate confidence level to tape out is getting longer. In others, it's, as somebody said, it's Christmas doesn't wait for anybody, so it has to be out by a certain time. And I think people cannot afford to really have less confidence to tape out, so they will do everything it takes to deal with the situation, which can be attacked from a couple of angles. Have the pieces which are integrated be properly verified, so it's all the IP, the subsystems need to be really, really clean. The integration needs to be automated, so you need to have ways to automate how all those things fit together. And then you need to execute enough cycles to actually verify and have the smart verification environments to verify. So for the cycle piece, you need to abstract. That's where virtual platforms comes in. And you need to augment the RTL simulation with the hardware-assisted verification, like emulation and FPGA. So at the end of the day, people want the confidence that they can tape out, so they will invest the resources where they can, when they cannot afford to push out the schedule. They invest the resources in people and equipment to actually get there.
So your tool belt just gets heavier and heavier as you go forward.
Tool belt gets heavier and smarter, right? So making sure that the verification environment, the scope of what you verify is appropriate. All those items have to become smarter, and then you need to have enough cycles. That's where hardware-assisted verification and the abstraction to virtual worlds comes in.
So Venkat, are you still as comfortable when you're taping out that the verification has been done and done effectively as you were, say, a node or two ago, and when there wasn't as much IP in an SoC?
So I think in terms of confidence level, we are about the same, because as humans, I guess at some point we know that we are confident enough to tape a chip out. But definitely things have changed from a generation or two ago, and we have far more complex IPs. And as the people before me said, we are sort of splitting out the IP, the verification problem. First, we're pushing it down, so we have more IPs which have to be verified more, and we're pushing some to the software. So software needs to get engaged earlier on in the design process. We have FPGAs and emulation platforms, so things get verified not just in verification, but also in simulation and emulation. So I think overall we are at the same level, but obviously we have far better tools, we have far better methodologies, we have more reuse, we have faster machines. So I think all in all, the verification level is the same, though you would have imagined that 20 years into hardware design, you would be at a level which is far ahead now than it was before. So.
You have a lot more to test now than you did in the past too, right?
Yes, we do have a lot more to test, and as an integrator, I'm definitely testing a lot less now than I did before because I relied less on the IPs being verified before than I am now. So I mean, now I expect that if 70% of my chip is IPs, then I expect that maybe 40% of my verification is already handled by the IP guys, right? Whereas before maybe 10% was IPs, so maybe 0% was the IP guys.
Adnan, when you tape out a chip these days, are you as confident that it will work as you were maybe a generation ago?
Maybe that's the wrong question. I propose that we are far from being done with demanding more capabilities integrated into smaller chips with more features. The chip doesn't matter, only the product matters. And those who can, and something only works if it's been tested. Those who can verify will survive, those who can't will die. Case in point, Apple got their stuff to work, we all buy it. HP tried very hard to enter the tablet market and they couldn't make it because they couldn't verify the design. So today, we're probably in the lowest of the low of how well we verify our chips. That's not the same thing as saying we're not verifying our systems. Systems get verified. Bugs in chips just slow down time to market. The solution the world needs is, just as we've learned to plug and play IPs to build systems and plug and play software to build, run software in those systems, we need a way to plug and play tests that can go from the IPs to the systems to the software.
Is there any movement in that direction?
Well, that's Breker's key focus. It's definitely what the customers want. It's less clear that there's a lot of people playing in that world.